and probably more in future videos where we're talking about PR, because I've had it up to here. Yeah, it's above your eye line. It's how much I've had it with PR. Of the one row is $1,664 pre-tax. Over $1,500 for one row of makeup. This is the reality of so many people, where one day you realize, holy shit, I spent all of my money on makeup, or I don't have the money that I want. Maybe I'm in debt, or maybe you look around one day at your hundreds of eyeshadow palettes and go, I can't do this anymore. Hey y'all, I'm Shauna. Welcome in, or welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new day of Vidmas. Today we are looking at makeup collections. What I mean by that are TikToks, where people come on camera and show their makeup and like give it a tour, declutter it, or organize it in some kind of way. They're ultimately people showing off their makeup collections. The original title of this video was Makeup Collections Are Bigger Than Ever, and boy are they. So we are going to be doing this in my usual style, where we look at some TikToks and we talk about them. We provide critique and commentary and really just focus on the overconsumption of it all. So the first video we're going to watch is about a lipstick collection. This video was posted in early November, and it has 64 million views. This might be the most viewed video I've shown here before. I think the second highest was like 37 million, maybe 42. 64 million is insane. It's almost at 65 million, 64.9. Let's watch. There is only one word to describe this, and that is overconsumption. One of the reasons why I'm making this video is because makeup for me personally used to be one of my biggest vices, and if I saw this video in my overconsumption era, I would have been jealous. I would have wanted this for myself. I would have personally seen this as goals, and I would have wanted this. I don't think that I would have been like, you know what, let me go out and buy all of these things, but I might have gone out and bought a YSL lipstick. I absolutely did. In like 2014, I went out and bought a YSL lipstick at like $45 or something. It was insane. The most expensive lipstick that I ever bought, because all the beauty gurus bought YSL, and I thought it like said something about me. This creator has been posting makeup organizations, and the caption of this video, it says, spoiler, it didn't fit, I'll have to start over. I don't know exactly how we came to that conclusion, but that's what she said. Literally, I'm going to put on the screen now. She reposted basically the same TikTok with just slight modifications to like the first few seconds and like the cleaning portion of it. She basically re-uploaded the same video as part 13. It's basically the same footage. In the front, where she like, I don't know, puts her hand over all of her lipstick, she actually lost a nail. So that part is on a different day. The rest is what appears to be the same, like the same day, the same initial footage. She's reposting the exact same content over and over again because it does well and people want to watch it. This part 13 didn't do as well, but it still did well. 4.1 million views. So people want to watch it, and she has the potential to influence or re-influence with every video that she posts. There is something that is somewhat relaxing about this, and I think this is true with organizing videos, cleaning videos. When things get righted, when you clean up a mess and you put things into their more organized state, there is something satisfying about that to the eye, but I think also maybe internally, if that makes sense, like there's a soothing effect, a calming effect, and that can happen with watching these videos. She has more of these videos, and I'm going to actually show you another one, which also has a ton of views, 7.6 million. This one was posted in March, so before both of the other videos that I showed you. And what it appears is that there is lip gloss, the same lip gloss or lipsticks from the first videos. And she has taken those lip glosses, organized them into her container up top, and then at a later point, put them into the drawer or back into the drawer to reorganize them in a different way. So it appears to me like she is reorganizing the same things over and over and over again for views. And so I have my whole, this isn't reality, this isn't real, this is just for views spiel that I've shared many a time previously. So we're just going to leave that there. This is pure overconsumption. Do not get it twisted. This is overconsumption. Nobody, not even an influencer, needs to own this much makeup, let alone show it on their channel. We will talk more about that with other more influencer style videos in just a minute, or maybe later on, I should say. I'm going to show you another example from a different creator in this organizing realm. This video to me feels more like influencer behavior than the first few that we watched from the same creator, because she has a freaking scooping up her lip glosses, which is so unnecessary to do. Like, ma'am, you have hands. It's that, like, the scoop adds to the production and the spectacle of it all. You may assume that only influencers do this, that this is only really influencer behavior. I think that there's a certain kind of setup that may predominate with influencers, but this does not stop everyday regular people from wanting this or trying to emulate a version of this in their own lives. My gripe is about the influence. And when influencers do this, when influencers show their gigantic quantities of makeup and they aestheticize it, they make overconsumption look like a sexy thing to do, like a fun thing to do. It seems like a wonderful thing to do and a wonderful little hobby. You know, like who is my little makeup collection hurting? You know, if I want to own 200 lipsticks, like, you know, who am I really hurting? Let me introduce you to the video that I posted last week that is titled something like "Let influencers spend their money how they want," or "It's their money, let influencers spend it how they want." Respectfully, no. It's not about you. It's not about the individual. It's about the impact of the individual. Influencers normalize makeup collecting and makeup, like owning large quantities of makeup. Don't let aesthetics fool you into thinking that this is a good idea. They normalize gigantic quantities of stuff, and it makes it seem less crazy or aspirational to the average person. The realities of owning this much stuff is not like this aesthetic dreamy thing. It's actually a big fucking headache. I owned a fraction of this makeup. At my height, this is before I was on YouTube, I owned over 200 lip products. I thought it was a flex. And I also thought that it was fun. I didn't have anybody in my life who liked makeup. So the only people who liked makeup were the people I conversed with online and the people who I saw online. The makeup gurus of the time, which now could be TikTokers, they loved makeup, and I was so impacted by their infatuation and I was influenced by their excitement. I thought because I love makeup, it was okay, if not a great thing, to own 200 lipsticks, to eventually one day own 50 eyeshadow palettes or aspire to own that. I thought it was acceptable and normal because I was seeing it online. This is not like me trying to put my problems and my overconsumption exclusively on the influencer, but it took some personal problems to realize that this was not okay and that it was not normal. I did not realize it was not normal. It is 2024 and I am still dealing with the overconsumption. What I'm trying to say is that 4 years have gone by and I'm still dealing with the ramifications, the physical stuff, and still using it up. Some of it had to be chucked this year because it expired, but I'm still dealing with the fallout of that. Let me ground you in reality for a second. In the first video with all those YSL lipsticks, she has 14 of those, like those silver tubes, 14 YSL lipsticks. Those go for $57 Canadian. Some formulas are $61, but those ones specifically are $57, which is a grand total of $798 before tax. She has approximately 14 Dior lip products. 9 of them are the glowing bombs, and then 7 of them are the lip oils. They both have the same price tag at $54. So she owns $864 in Dior lip products of only that row. The total of everything of the one row is $1,664 pre-tax. Over $1,500 for one row of makeup. I lost count of all of her lipsticks, but she owns over 200. And if each of those lip products averages $20, which they don't, because you can see her lip products, majority of them are high end, it's $4,000 worth of lipstick. $4,000. I think you could think of a lot of things that you could do with $4,000. Let me now show you a TikTok from somebody who recently stopped over-consuming to put things into perspective. I know I just shared a little bit about myself, but I think hearing from other voices is also great. The reason why so many people overconsume makeup is because of social media. The way people talk about makeup excitedly, the variety of products, how much makeup gets released, people constantly talking and showcasing new products, the cycling of trends. Yes, personal accountability matters, but when I see accounts like the first two with their gigantic makeup collections, I'm thinking about the impact on people like me, on this creator, and so many others, so many countless of you who've come to this channel, who have been influenced to shop the way that you shop because you've been impacted by what you've seen online. You've been encouraged to shop by all of the linking of products, the excitement, and just being around people who love shopping. I also want to say to her, near the end of her TikTok, she said that she still wants more stuff because of all the new releases. And I truly believe this is nothing to do with her makeup collection and what she already has, but some of the habits that come with over consuming. When what you have doesn't really matter because you're not thinking about what you have. You're constantly looking at all the stuff you don't have and keeping your eye on new makeup releases. This is the reality of so many people, where one day you realize, holy shit, I spent all of my money on makeup, or I don't have the money that I want. Maybe I'm in debt. Or maybe you look around one day at your hundreds of eyeshadow palettes and go, I can't do this anymore. I had that moment. It was in 2019 when I ordered about $3,000 worth of stuff. And then when within a week was looking at new stuff, wanting new stuff, got my credit card bill and went, wait a second. How could I have just bought thousands of dollars worth of stuff and still want new things? I felt disgusting. When it comes to makeup specifically, you do not need this much amount of makeup for variety. This is not about the makeup. This is about the buying of the makeup. And this is about what the buying does for you. It's not about the stuff. It's about the habits and the buying and the shopping. Because more stuff, I can tell you from experience, does not make you happy. It, in my opinion, makes you less content with what you have because you're focusing on all the new stuff and all the stuff you don't have. The more I shopped, the less I was focusing on what I had. You're chasing the highs of shopping, you're chasing the pleasure, you're quite often filling the voids of your life and your problems and your discontentedness, your unhappiness with stuff. And once I stopped over consuming, I was smacked right in the face with that reality and I had to face it. I couldn't, or I didn't realize how unhappy I was until I took away the coping mechanism. And I realized it was never about the stuff. We are going to move on. We're going to move on and we're going to look at another kind of collecting component. We're actually just going to watch the first couple of seconds because it's what this video is really all about. So in this video, she is stacking eyelash boxes and it says, wow, super blessed and thankful to even own all of these lashes. Not even a year ago, I only had like 3 pairs and it was a struggle to even buy them. People, again, when you look through her comments, hundreds, like 200 comments of people, where did you get this? Oh my God, girly goals. I'm addicted to lashes. I don't even have any at the moment. Where'd you get your glitters from? Where'd you get your makeup vanity? Where'd you purchase this? This is motivation. Where are your drawers from? Everyday people wanting to know what her makeup collection storage is from because they would also like to store their makeup in a similar fashion, which is proof to me that average regular people own a lot of stuff and need storage solutions for. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that this is another example of using this level of consumption as aspirational and teaching people to aspire to overconsume. She's communicating the message to her followers that I couldn't own 3 eyelashes last year, and now I can own an entire room full of eyelashes. I'm so blessed and grateful. Glad that you are grateful for all the money that you have. Wonderful attitude, but that does not it doesn't do anything about the message of overconsumption and to promote the idea that one should overconsume when they make more money. And the reason to make more money is to overconsume.
The time has come. We need to organize and declutter my lip gloss drawer of doom. I have put off doing this for almost a year. I have probably gotten thousands of comments. Bestie, today's the day. If you're just joining us, this is part 11 of our makeup organization and declutter series. It's been going in the order of my vanity. Well, you see, if you think that's the only lip drawer, those were the glosses. These are all lipsticks, lip crayons. This one's more organized. The problem lies down here, which is just the fucking catch-all hot mess express. So I literally don't know where to start. It is quite overwhelming, which is why I haven't done this for a year. So grab a drink, grab a freaking snack, and do a prayer for your best friend, because I need it. The only way to start is by taking everything out. And I feel like I need to take a photo before I do. All right, let's go. I am literally just going to pick up glosses and plop them down on the floor. I also...
You get the point of what's happening here. I have one other decluttering video that I'm going to show you in just a little bit. I have some hot takes about makeup overconsumption when it comes to beauty gurus or beauty YouTubers, beauty TikTokers. Number one is that not everything has to be monetized. All your possessions do not need to be shown at every moment. Beauty YouTubers and TikTokers film in front of their beauty studio, like their shelves and their drawers, which is, communicating they own so much stuff. It's their hobby. They've tried a lot of stuff, that kind of thing, which that doesn't even need to be done. I've had some conversations with y'all in the comments, and you guys have highlighted the Welsh twins who talk about like beauty and skincare and similar topics. And neither of them films in front of a wall full of makeup. And number two, we do not need to film every filmable moment. Not everything is a filmable moment. You could do this alone. The decluttering does not need to be done on camera. The reason why it's done is because they are well-performing videos and creators want to monetize every element of their lives. I'm here to say, no, ma'am, that does not need to be the case. And one thing that comes across all the time, beauty YouTubers saying, or beauty TikTokers saying that this is their job, they need to own this much stuff. Not necessarily. Number one, you do not need to accept every literal PR package that you receive. You can cut off brands that you don't want to receive from. You can also communicate to brands and ask for specific shades or something. Like, if you're sending out PR, I only want to receive the shades closest to me, as an example. Or if you are able to pick out shades, picking out the shades that are applicable to you. I know that's not every case. In many cases, you have some control that can be exerted. It also comes down to the content that you make and how much stuff you put in front of the camera and when. We have somehow gotten it into our heads, both beauty YouTubers and an audience, that it is okay for beauty YouTubers to own such quantities of makeup because it's their job. You can review makeup without owning literally hundreds and thousands of dollars of it. And if you choose to own hundreds of thousands of dollars on it because it serves some kind of purpose, you also do not need to be putting it in front of the viewer. I say this quite a bit, and I'm going to continue saying it. I do not think influencers think about all the ways they have the potential to influence their audience with all of the kinds of content that they make. When I say that it's easy to forget that influencers are businesses, this is why. When influencers are selling us things explicitly through their Amazon videos, that is easier to remember because it reads like an advertisement. And we see a more deliberate attempt to get us to make a purchase. But when we see videos like this of people decluttering their makeup collections, it's easier to forget that they are a business and that they also influence us. Because if we view this type of consumption as ideal, what we're really doing is we're consuming content of somebody who is living a life that we might want to live or is consuming in a way that we want to live. She's literally heaping lip glosses with her hands. It seems kind of fun in games. This feels different than the Target finds or the Amazon finds kinds of content. Meanwhile, if she got all of this in PR or she bought this stuff with her money, business expenses, baby. If people are consuming in ways that we ourselves want to consume, we don't see it as a business because we're seeing it as ideal. I hope I made that point clear. And she seems like she's having a grand old time. Or like you would want to own all this stuff. You would have a grand old time scooping up your lip glosses like this. This is so much stuff. And we have been so desensitized to this stuff and to thinking that this is a lot of stuff. So many people don't bat an eye at this because it seems kind of normal or not like crazy or obscene because we've seen it so much. And also because a lot of us find it entertaining to watch somebody throw out all of their lip glosses. And this is also a hot take, but I don't think overconsumption should be entertainment. Not only because it's so wasteful and these consuming habits are wasteful, like don't give me this PR crap because you can opt out. Let me now show you a video from Laura Lee. We're only going to watch a little bit of it to
I decided to get rid of majority of my makeup and it took me 6 hours to do it. All of these drawers are just overstuffed, overcrammed. I don't even know what I have in here. Most of this is PR that gets sent to me. Don't think I bought all this, okay? But I just spent one day getting rid of majority of it. Now the products that I chose to get rid of are things I have duplicates of, things I'm not using anymore, and products that are no longer available. Because I like to review stuff, I don't really like to talk about products that my audience can no longer get. I also decided to organize and put everything back in the drawer by brand so I would be able to find the products that I'm keeping easier. I personally cannot stand when I open a drawer and it's just packed to the top and I can't see what's in it. I like cleanliness, I like space, and that is not what this is giving. I normally break this project up into a couple of days, but I just wanted to get it all done. So I spent 6 hours doing this. I filmed this whole thing for my YouTube channel in the video.
We're going to stop it there because you get it. Laura Lee is one that some of y'all might be familiar with, and kind of why I'm including this here is because I'm familiar with her. And she used to make exclusively makeup content, and she doesn't do that exclusively anymore. I feel like her TikTok is more lifestyle oriented, which, you know, includes makeup, and then her YouTube channel might be like 60-40 or 50-50 makeup and other stuff. She approaches this as like a cleaning task. It took me 6 hours and focuses on the organizational aspect of this. When I talk about overconsumption taking a lot of time and energy, this is what I'm talking about. When you own a lot of stuff, you end up cleaning out your beauty room and taking 6 hours to do it. And she's kind of viewing it as like this big chore and like this, oh my God, it took 6 hours. I read that as I own so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? Your stuff ends up taking away so much from you, potentially more than it gives you. And she also tries to say like it's okay because of the fact that she didn't buy it and she got it in PR. We already talked about that. And probably more in future videos where we're talking about PR because I've had it up to here. Yeah, it's above your eye line. It's how much I've had it with PR. So one of the things that she talks about here is that the things that she chose to declutter are things that you can't get anymore, limited edition, sold out stuff, because she likes to review stuff on her channel. And the last thing I'm going to touch on with the organizational aspect is that when you view it through an organizational lens, like I just want to be clean, I just want things to be orderly and cleanly, it actually removes overconsumption from the equation and makes this like a cleaning problem and an organizational problem, which I think is a way to like remove some of the problematic things that we do from our lives. Like it decenters that. You got into this mess because you overconsumed when you had the choice not. I think that this is a mentality that a lot of people have, and she perpetuates that mentality when she shares it online, that it's okay to declutter all the things you've overconsumed because it's kind of caused you like that mental stress. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do things to ease your stress, but she has done nothing about her habits here. This is the buy and declutter cycle in action, or maybe in this case, more like acquire and declutter in action. And we ourselves might say that we're just going to declutter it because we're stressed, and we're not acknowledging how we got there. We're not acknowledging the overconsumption, and neither is she. By saying it's in PR, it's a way to distance herself from overconsumption. She didn't do it. She didn't accumulate like this. Well, girl, you had a choice. The other thing to talk about with this is why she chose to declutter things. She says that she's decluttering things that you can't get anymore, that were limited edition, collabs, holiday stuff. And I hear this a lot on beauty YouTube. It's a very common reason for people to declutter things. I think it's an easy reason for folks to make decluttering choices. Like it gives a really clear yes or no. Should I declutter this or keep this? But when we declutter these things, we set precedents and examples to our viewers. And it also encourages her to make certain kinds of content, or this is exemplifying the kind of content that you make where you prioritize new releases and showcasing new stuff instead of encouraging people to use what they have or you yourself using what you have. You can, in fact, use that old palette from 5 years ago, I mean, if it's still good, or use that limited edition collab from last holiday. People still have it. And also, you can have makeup tutorials that don't focus on specific products. You can encourage people to bust out their old makeup, or let's do a brown smoky eye together and talk about the kinds of shades you might need instead of buying this palette. The reason that she doesn't do it and many influencers don't do it is because you can't sell people stuff that they can't get anymore. So it's in her benefit to keep the new stuff on her audience's radar so she can sell it to you. This, I feel like, is encouraging kind of bad behavior or over-consuming behavior. This is a prime example to me of over-consuming behavior, or thoughts or ways of thinking that keep us in overconsumption. We are now going to watch a video of an influencer who loves blushes swatching her cream blushes for us. A lot to say about this, so let's go.
When it comes to blush, I'm gonna have it. Let's do a cream and liquid blush collection with swatches. Is this much blush? Absolutely overkill, yes, but I love blush, and one thing about me, I'm always gonna buy another blush. I don't know what it is. I just feel like every single shade is so different. So we're gonna swatch them and see if they're actually that different, and also just to show you guys all the blushes that I have. I'm gonna start with my cream blushes. We're gonna do her 5 first. This is shade Rose, Citrine, and Malaya. Hour 28, I only have 2 blushes. I have Magic Hour and Happy Hour. Really, really pretty. These are all from Bosma Beauty. I love these blushes. These are some of my favorites. We have Peach, Bubblegum Pink, and Mauve. Really, really pretty. Mauve and Bubblegum Pink are 2 of my favorites from them. Then we have Cherry Red and Fuchsia. These are honestly super out there for me, but I feel like Fuchsia would be pretty. I need to use these more. These are beautiful. Patrick Ta, I have 5 of them. One day I want to own every single one of his blushes. This is probably my favorite blush, honestly, like of all time, is the Patrick Ta one. She's that girl. She's blushing and oh, she's different. Such pretty colors. I feel like Patrick Ta alone does actually good blushes for people. In theory, a lot of blushes look really pretty, but when you put it on skin tones, does it look good? I feel like his, you can find one that looks good for your skin tone no matter what. We have Not Too Much and Just Enough. These 2 are honestly probably my favorite, along with She's Blushing. They're just my favorite. Unique. I have 1 blush from Pat McGrath. I want to get more shades though. This is the shade Divine Rose. Look how pretty that formula is, and that's not usually a shade I would go for, but I'm wearing it today mixed with another blush, and it just looks so pretty. I love this formula. Then I have 2 blush sticks from ColourPop. This is Cottage Life and Cool It. I love Cool It the most, but Cottage Life is also super cool. These are very neutral blushes as well, which I feel like is really hard to find at the drugstore, but I love these. On to my liquid blushes. I have all of these from Say. I have Chili, Rosy, Sweetie, Peachy, Spicy, Cutie, and then Baby. I love all of these, but Cutie and Baby and also Spicy are like my 3 favorites from them. I obviously have a lot from Rare Beauty, so let's watch. We have Joy, Virtue, Encourage, Hope, Bliss, Grace, and Happy. We're down to the last 3. I have decluttered my blush collection recently, so I used to have more than this, but these are the last 3 that I have. I have one from Charlotte Tilbury, Winky Lux, and e.l.f. This is Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Pillow Talk, Winky Lux in the shade Queen, and e.l.f. in the shade Pinky Promise. Does anyone need this amount of blush? Absolutely not, but do I want this amount of blush? Yes, and I do use a lot of these blushes. I switch my blush look up all of the time, so it's worth it to me. I'm putting them away now, but let me know if you want to see a powder blush collection.
Okay, I have a lot to say about this, so let me say it, I guess. She said at the top of the video, this is overkill, but she loves blush. Ma'am, no! This is the mindset that leads to overconsumption. Loving something means I'm going to buy all of the stuff. And also, I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit. She says at the end of the video that this, like, it's worth it to me. Like, she loves blush and it's worth it to her. Again, it's not about you. It's not about what you think is the best or like you think it's worth the money. You're allowed to do that all you want, but you are influencing people to follow in your footsteps, to overconsume like you. You are promoting overconsumption with your words and with your actions and by putting stuff like this online. You cannot finish all of this stuff, like especially cream blushes. This stuff will go bad before you can finish it. Like it all you want, love it all you want. It doesn't change that fact. It also doesn't change that will be the reality of the people that you've encouraged to follow in your footsteps. What is the point of owning all of these blushes if you couldn't use them? The point is the ownership of the products. It is the acquisition of goods. It is the feel-good feeling of buying all of this stuff. In my opinion, this is an example of somebody buying stuff for their hobby and feeling okay over consuming because it's their hobby. And how they show their love for their hobby is to buy stuff. Or I guess maybe in her position, it's not really a hobby because she's making money online. It also doesn't matter if these shades are unique. One thing I used to tell myself as a blush lover is that, oh, I don't have a shade like this in my collection, therefore I should buy it. Well, ma'am, in this case, ma'am is me. If you do not wear hot pink blush, it doesn't matter if it's unique to your collection. You don't wear it. So what are we doing with, you don't need it. She also swatches these cream blushes by brand and not actually by color, which I don't know if that was deliberate or not. I'm going to try and be charitable here and say that it wasn't intentionally manipulative and that it was an oversight, or she thought it would be more helpful to swatch by brand. However, you cannot see the overlapping or the similarity of shades unless you swatch by color, which she didn't do. So we don't actually know how many duplicate shades that she has, how much of her collection is duping itself. I have done this where I've swatched all of my blushes, and it is kind of funny how something can look in the pan and just swatch out differently. And I did not realize the dupes that I had within my collection, which was like half the size of just her cream blush collection. I did not realize how similar shades were. And so she probably doesn't either. Would that encourage her to declutter things? I don't know. With the Patrick Ta blushes, one of the things she says is that one day she wants to own them all. This is, to me, an example of a completionist mentality, and it's a justification, in my opinion, for over-consuming. You want to collect for the sake of completion because the completion feels good, and that justifies the buying. I want to own them all, therefore I'm going to buy the other 3 or 4. And there is not the thinking of, would I use them? Do I like them? Do the shades speak to me? Do I even think I would put this on my face? It's I want to complete it. And I've heard a lot of this with different products over the years, like the ABH palettes or the Natasha Denona midi palettes I heard a lot about. The Rare Beauty blushes I heard a lot about. It's been some time since I have watch makeup collection tours, so I don't know if those are still, I mean, they're probably not the big things because ABH hasn't released those velvety, they're not velvet, those material fabric palettes the modern Renaissance style packaging. They haven't released them in a long time. And Natasha Denona has so many midi palettes. I don't know if one could collect them anymore. People also had this with some ColourPop palettes for a time. There have been things that the community has collected over the years or have wanted to collect simultaneously. This is just one example. And this is another case of, what does owning all the colors do? Nothing. You just own them. You possess them. What does that matter if you don't wear them or like them? She says that she's searching for the best blush formula. This is a quick way into overconsumption as well. And it will keep you in the cycle of overconsumption, buying and decluttering and having a large collection, because you're always on the hunt for the perfect thing. The perfect thing is an illusion and doesn't exist. And the best formula doesn't exist because your preferences change all of the time. And you would literally have to own a store. You would literally have to own a Sephora to be able to come to any kind of definitive conclusion about what the best formula could be, which I do not advocate. Then at the end, do I need this amount of blush? No. Do I want this amount of blush? Yes. No. I mean, you're allowed to want this amount of blush. You are, and she is allowed to own this amount of blush, but we want to own this amount of blush, in my opinion, because of what it feels like to buy it. When When we are caught up in the throes of wanting stuff or buying stuff, when we're caught up in the cycles of overconsumption, it's not about owning this stuff. It's about the acquisition of the stuff. So you do end up owning it as a result, but that isn't really the goal. It is sometimes completing collections or just trying a product or buying a product because you like blush. We just talked about it. That's the video. That's everything for me today. I think it was a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed chatting about makeup collections. And I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for tuning in to another day of Vidmas. Love it if you would subscribe. Are you subscribed? Are you subscribed? Check your subscriptions. I would love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.